I'm employing my mom, who's a spectacular baker and cook in her own right.
Yeah.
It's a way for me to be able to put some money in her pocket and
Give back to her.
and know what kind of quality
Right.
item is being produced.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Airdrie Inside. I am your host, Chris Glass, and I am here with a longtime friend of mine, Adam Blasetti. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris. It's good to see you.
So, Adam, tell me a little bit about your history. I know you from the football community, which is a theme that keeps popping up on the show. We've worked together before in the past. We've coached against each other. I've watched you play. I've watched you coach. Tell me a little bit about your history in Calgary.
Ooh, that's a long, winding road. I was thinking to myself, actually, on the drive over here, is when we started, when our first kind of coming together was, and I thought it was it 2010 with the Stamps in training camp, or would have been 11? One of those years.
I think it was 2 years prior to that, if you remember. Dave Maltman and Taylor Attilio dragged me out to a U17 tryout. And I think we were all kind of helping the Football Alberta tryouts.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, I mean, my road is windy. It's long now that we've finally gotten older. Born and raised in Calgary. Sports has always kind of been part of my life. It's been a big deal, a central focus. Parents were divorced when I was really, really young. I bounced around a little bit, settled in the Marlborough Park and the Falcon Ridge areas, and grew up in the dirty Northeast, which I still have a soft spot in my heart for. Graduated from Bishop McNally High School, the first graduating class.
Go Laser Wolves.
Yeah, not anymore. It's back just to the Timberwolves. And then had no idea what I wanted to do after high school. I knew that I wanted to play football. I just didn't know what to do and how to do it. And went up to the University of Alberta because they offered me a tryout and got my butt kicked. And they suggested that I look at junior football. I hadn't discovered the weight room yet, so that was a swift kick in the butt. So started to play with the Calgary Colts. Spent a few years with them, then transitioned to the Dinos. Had a cup of coffee with the Calgary Stampeders as a player, which was, I made it, but I was cut loose after 6 weeks. So I like to say it was a cup of coffee, but I got
still 6 weeks is 6 weeks.
And I got way more out of my playing career than I ever thought. But when I was cut, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life because, football had been the focus for so long. So I started to coach. I went right back to the Calgary Colts, and funny story. I started off by Eric Cahonen was my quarterback back with the Colts, and he was the president at the time. So I contacted him, asked him if I could come and help out, see if the O-line coach needed any help. I showed up for one practice, and then the O-line coach disappeared, and I fell backwards into being the O-line coach, and hung around there for 8 years.
Nice.
Worked up to be the offensive coordinator, and then I left to go coach in the NCAA for a couple years, and then came back to coach in the CFL for a couple years. And
so I wanted to talk about the CFL a little bit.
Sure.
You were with the BC Lions.
Montreal Alouettes first, and then the
yes,
Lions.
with the Alouettes, with Coach
Chris Sweet.
Coach Chris Sweet, who, if anybody's ever worked with Coach Sweet, one of the most entertaining CFL characters.
It's a great way to put it.
I've ever seen.
Yeah,
a legendary human.
Great human being. Is definitely a character.
I encourage anybody who's watching a game that he's coaching. I believe he's with the Argos now.
He is.
To get 2 rows up and put your listening ears on and hear some of the things that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's still wild. There's a lot of expletives. There's things that fly around. It wasn't too long ago that he cut TSN's cable. Remember that when he was walking in behind him and he got pissed with it because he was tripping over the cable and cut their. Yeah, he's a unique man.
It's good to see that the CFL is replenishing the characters that we've had, because it's been such a great league. So the Alouettes, talk about that experience.
It kind of fell into my lap. I went out there as a guest coach, and then Coach Higgins liked me. Coach Sweet has always been an advocate for me, and it gave me an opportunity to basically hang out for the rest of the season, try to help out. And that was kind of my first dipping my toes into the CFL pool. Great group of coaches, learned a lot. I can't thank Coach Sweet enough. He really set the tone for me to learn what it was to be a pro as a coach. Gave me the structure and the ground floor in which to really to know how to do it on my own.
Yeah. And did he teach you how to keep your voice through longer than one preseason
when
practice?
You get camp voice, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many years you've done this. Camp voice is still a distinct thing. And in fact, we as you know, I currently coach with the Dinos, but we just finished up our summer high school camp, and I had camp voice after day 2, so I'm still suffering a little bit from it. But it's one of those things, just like if you're not lifting weights enough, your body forgets. If you're not yelling and your volume isn't up, your voice forgets.
Right. And then you went to the BC Lions. So talk to me about that experience.
It was an amazing experience. Wally hired me with some recommendations from some very good people. And we took a 7-11 team to a 12-6 team and a berth in the Western Final, and Calgary absolutely annihilated us. But we thought we had the plan that time. Great group of coaches. Kahari Jones was our offensive coordinator, a spectacular man. I lived in Mark Washington's basement.
Oh wow!
And that was great. And he and his family are honestly spectacular people, and it was such a coming together of a great bunch of people, and it was a very successful season, and the locker room was great. You couldn't have asked for a better experience.
Now, Coach Wally, I grew up around Coach Wally when I was 8-9 years old, and to be working for such a revered CFL legend, what was that like?
Well, you always wanted to try to, or I did anyway. I mean, the other guys on the staff are a lot more senior than I were, but I wanted to really impress him. I wanted to show him that I would work my butt off for him, and that I contributed the right way and was an asset to the team. And it's Wally. Wally would let you know his opinion, and he earned that right.
Yes.
Were they all good ideas? Maybe not, but he earned the opportunity to be able to say whatever he wanted to.
100%.
But to Wally's credit, he let his coaches coach.
Yeah.
For the vast majority of it. He might talk to you about an idea or this or that, or he might come and sit in a meeting, but for all in all, he trusted you. If he hired you, he trusted you to do the job, and you wouldn't be there if you couldn't do it.
Right. And that's such a breath of fresh air when it comes to coaching football. It's so hard to have somebody on top of you, right? And kind of putting that pressure on you to do things a certain way or not be yourself, I guess, is kind of the environment.
Well, I think a lot of it is, especially with younger head coaches, the thought process is, they've got something to prove. They've got to set the ship the right way. And, there can't be any kind of detours or offshoots because, it's his culture but Wally had been around for so long that it didn't matter because everybody knew the buck stopped with him anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
And so it wasn't, and one of the things that I've learned from guys like Dan Durazio and Chris Sweet and Wally, if I ever become a head coach, I'm going to do everything that I can to surround myself with people that are smarter than me.
Yeah.
They're going to make me look better. They're going to help me come up with the right decisions. I always thought that if you didn't surround yourself with people that were smarter than you, then you're failing as a head guy anyway.
Right. You mentioned Dan Durazio, just so much fond memories with that man, and a huge loss to the community when he passed away.
Well, just not just in football either.
No, just an incredible human being.
An incredible human being.
Yeah.
A devout Catholic, a spectacular man. He was great as a mentor to me.
Yeah.
And to a lot of people.
I was going to say, as much as you want to feel special there, he mentored a lot of people. I mean, really good football coaches are like that, though. In my time with the Stamps, Rick Campbell was an amazing teacher to me and took me aside all the time to show me stuff. And I think if we had Rick here, he didn't remember any of that. It was just doing what coaches do, right? Just coaching and that kind of thing. It's a pretty cool environment in the CFL.
Well, it is because it's a small fraternity.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, whether you like it or not, everybody knows your business in the CFL. It's
right.
You can't get away from it. Dan was an offensive line coach and a very good offensive line coach in the CFL for 23 years, which is an amazing,
hell of a run.
That is a run.
Yeah.
And he was the OC at Maryland before that, which people have a tendency to forget.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
he
G. Roy Simons.
Before he got here.
Yeah. He was G. Roy Simons' OC before Papa North. And the amount of football that he forgot, most people will be lucky if they know that kind of structure and that the X's and O's the way that he will, the things that he forgot. But the way the dedication to the craft is one of the things that I took from Dan.
Yeah.
A man that I don't know if I've ever been around, a man that was more rigid and very, very structured.
Yeah.
I prided myself on being the third person in that building every day at 5 a.m. Dan was there at like 3.
Yeah, you knew you were going to be Dan.
No, and Mark Washington was there at 4. But I was always the third in. And, Dan was very old school.
Yeah.
It's like he was still hand draw things and
overhead projector.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else is on DV Sport and he was still doing that.
Yeah. But very, very extremely detailed. And the amount of obscure things that he would have just be able to pull up out of his thought process and memory of,
did this 25 years ago.
Yeah. When you're trying to, one of the unique things is when, as the running back coach in BC, I helped Dan I basically helped design the protection plan for the week.
Right.
So, there's a lot of material to sort through. I'm breaking down 4 games a week for that opponent. And, it's roughly almost 300 plays that we're going through. And it's, how is their reaction to every different formation? What kind of stunts, what kind of pressures do we get?
Right.
Dan was, to his own detriment, Dan would chase ghosts a little bit. There was, every now and then I remember that we were prepping for someone and he remembered this pressure that came it was a one-off. We'd only seen it once and it was like 5 years ago and we had to be prepared for it. And then, as I'm pouring through the film and trying to figure it out, to me, it seemed like it was just a bust that somebody pressured and they shouldn't have. And it was, but we were prepared for it.
He couldn't let that detail go.
Couldn't. And it was amazing to see somebody that was as dedicated to his craft as he was. And Dan wanted to be the best that he could be, but I think in a lot of ways he wanted to be the best that he could be for the guys.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily for him.
Yeah, Dan was always about lifting up the people around him.
Absolutely.
And going from there. I know we've talked a lot about the CFL. I know we've talked about a lot about football, and this is an Airdrie specific podcast. So people are probably at this point going, I don't get the tie yet. Here's the tie. You have decided to open a business here in Airdrie. and make Airdrie a home to your next venture. So tell me about that.
Well, I'm taking a big swing. I'm departing working in oil and gas and what I traditionally have done to open up a small business of my own, opening up a bistro inside a Genesis Place. Something I never thought I would ever do.
Right.
But the opportunity came up, and I had wanted to break free of kind of the corporate 9 to 5 kind of structure and start out on my own.
Yeah.
Forge my own path, kind of like I had to do with football anyway. It's not this, although the bistro aspect is new. Me kind of going it on my own is not necessarily a new thing.
You charting your own path. Why did you select Airdrie? Was it the opportunity, or is it like I like to think as a city we have a pretty good value proposition? So tell me why Airdrie.
Well, I think that there was a need in that, especially in that facility.
Right.
You know, I grew up what I would like to say Canadian poor. Those that grew up Canadian poor understand that.
Right.
Like my mom, God bless her, she worked her butt off for 33 years at the Calgary Library. And I remember when I was young having to go to the food bank and we'd have our lights shut off. And one of the ways that we didn't have money for gifts ever, but in the community and the time that I was raised, the way that mom and the rest of the community took care of everybody was we cooked for each other.
Yeah.
You fed people.
Right.
And that's kind
Food
of
was
it was the thing.
It's a universal language.
It is.
Yeah.
So that was kind of one of the, when the spot came up, it struck something inside of me. I want to be part of the community. I want to be part of trying to do something good for people.
Right.
And hopefully making a good living doing it too. But, I remember vividly what it felt like to getting taken care of by others, by being welcome into their home and somebody taking the time and the passion to cook for you.
Right.
And when this opportunity came up, it spoke to me.
Right.
So, and having the high school right beside was kind of,
not George Mack, but close.
Yeah, not George Mack,
yes.
but, Burt Church is right there. And I know that as well as we are doing in this province, as hard as everybody's working, costs are continuously going up, and
food insecurity is still a huge problem.
It's not, and it shouldn't happen, but we're unfortunately, it's the time that we live in. And, I want to try to be able to help with some of that, and hopefully there'll be ways that I can try to support with the hot lunch program and something like that for some of the students, if it's need be. Because I remember being that kid.
Yeah.
And we take for granted, most of us, having the largest middle class in the world, that, things are easy. Even when they're hard, they're still relatively easy. And not everybody has that.
So what can I expect at your bistro? So what's it called? First of all, you haven't given me the title yet. We might be breaking news here because I've only seen a logo. But as I told you about being a head coach, I've surrounded myself with people that are a lot smarter than me. John Nicastro coached his son. We became great friends. He's mentoring me through the process. A successful entrepreneur himself. And what did he name his place?
He's got the George and Higher Ground and
right. Fair.
But he said everybody loves Italian, and it's true. It seems like everybody loves Italian. So I'm going with my first name in Italian. It's called Adamo.
Adamo Bistro.
That is correct.
And what can I expect on the menu?
Well, we've still got to service a demographic of people that, young kids,
fries and hot
dogs. They like fries and hot dogs.
For Genesis Place. Totally understand.
But, I'm going to have a couple of pasta dishes because that's my heart.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of hot sandwiches. There's going to be stuff like popular things like poutine and pizzas and it's going to cover a bit of a gamut, but it's still going to be small enough so that I can maintain control of the quality.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal to me.
Right.
And then I'm also going to have, I'm employing my mom, who's a spectacular baker and cook in her own right. She's amazing. But she's going to prep all my doughs for cookies and pastries and stuff. And I'm going to bake them fresh in house, but she's making them. Yeah. It's a way for me to be able to put some money in her pocket and
give back to her
and know what kind of quality item is being produced.
Well, this is going to change the game at Genesis Place. I'm a frequent user of that place, so I'm looking forward to buying a sandwich, buying some pasta, and being a part of the Adamo family there.
Well, I appreciate it. And, it's... I'm just hoping to put some roots down in the community and make this a long-term play and do things the right way. That's, as you know, from me over the coaching universe, that's what I've made my reputation on is doing things the right way. And that's what I'm trying to bring into this too.
Where can we find more information?
Well, I wish I could tell you that I had a website and everything set up right now, but right now we're going through the initial stages of the build out. I came right over here from wrecking walls and I had to do the old sink shower to make sure that I was spruced up and ready to go for this interview.
The good news is we can't smell anything on the podcast. It's only visual. We haven't got there yet, so you're good.
Perfect. But I'll have a website soon. It's going to have its own Instagram page. My friends are trying to get me onto TikTok, but
get a cool dance.
I guess so. And yeah, it's there's going to be a lot of information in Genesis itself.
Excellent.
Working towards a soft rollout, and then hopefully soon the official launch.
Excellent. Like I said, we have so many football games with the field back there and everything kind of firing all cylinders. So I can't wait to be a part of the bistro, and I wanted to thank you so much for making some time for me today.
No, I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for everything that you're doing, and thanks for helping me out.
Perfect. And thank you for being with us here on Airdrie Inside. We're going to be back with more episodes coming up shortly.